Go.
Hello, I am in Sloan. With Dementia Action Week running from the 17th of May, I wanted to share my story of living with dementia in the hope that it will inspire others to realise that there is life after diagnosis and not make the same mistakes I did following it. In 2005, I had a stroke. Then in 2013, I was devastated to receive a diagnosis of vascular dementia. This confirmed my worst suspicions. My life was over. So I went home and cried, believing there was nothing left to live for. Every time I couldn't remember how to do something, I gave up and never tried again, and my confidence in my own abilities disappeared. When my wife made a decision to give up work to become my full-time carer, life became easier for me, as I could sit back, let her do everything, and enjoy the attention I was getting. I did not realise the effect that this was having upon my confidence and independence. By the end of 2017, we were no longer living, we just existed, as I was reluctant to leave the house, and shamefully I imposed the same restrictions on my wife, leaving her feeling trapped. Help in our area at that time was very limited, so we just muddled along, doing what we thought was best. Dementia had taken over both our lives and controlled everything we did. We had hit rock bottom. My outlook changed dramatically in April 2018 after my wife attended a workshop run by Dementia Services Development Centre, part of Sloan University. The workshop gave a greater insight to dementia, enabling her to see it from the perspective of the person living with dementia. I passionately believe that the information gained from the workshop has enhanced my life as well as my wife's, as she now understands how and why I behave as I do. Based on the information gained from the workshop, we decided to change our surroundings, as we had not realised how light and colour can impact upon those with dementia. We decorated in the light and neutral colours, which has created a calming effect, and tried to declutter, as clutter can have a detrimental effect on someone with dementia. I know I have a den, my safe place, somewhere I can chill out on the days when the fog descends. When I am having a bad day, I cannot understand what is happening inside my head, and it feels as if my head is full of fog, making it impossible for me to think. Some days I can still see through the fog, but on other days it is so dense that thinking is impossible. This is when my den helps me enormously, as I can retreat there and spend the time reassuring and calming myself, knowing that I am in a safe place. With encouragement, I started to take on part again in everyday tasks. I have always had a love of cooking, so on the days when I am able, I have taken over the preparation of our meals. Purely for safety reasons, my wife supervises me when I am in the kitchen. I tried joining my wife on the weekly supermarket trip, which was not a success, as noise and crowd are an issue for me. My wife now understands why I do things which makes no sense to her. On days when I am being grumpy and short-tempered, she now knows to find the underlying cause, as this usually means I am not feeling well or the fog has descended. We no longer argue over silly little things, especially if they do not matter. And for my wife, every day brings a new challenge in understanding my behaviour. As my confidence is growing, I am better able to cope on my own, so my wife now can enjoy more freedom and do the things she enjoys, which benefits her both her physical and mental well-being. My sense of achievement in completing even the smallest task gives me the confidence to keep trying more and more new things, and I have adopted the following motto: it is not what I can't do, but what I can do. The general opinion appears to be that once someone is diagnosed with any form of dementia, their life is over, and I was guilty of falling into this trap. Our lives are not over. We are just entering a new phase and have a future to look forward to, while still being able to contribute to society. In May 2019, I was invited by Sloan University to attend their international masterclass and give a talk on how their workshop has changed our lives. Whilst in Stirling, I was fortunate enough to meet Wendy Mitchell, the author of Somebody I Used to Know. When talking to Wendy, we discovered we had so much in common, and Wendy inspired me to do something for people with dementia in our area. I am now committed to helping people understand that it is possible to live with dementia, so I joined Copeland Dementia Friends Group, which surprisingly no one with dementia was taking part. The group organised the two of us to visit our area, and my wife was lucky enough to take part. The insight she gained from the experience was helpful to her, as she found herself reacting in the same way as someone with dementia would do in the simulated situations. I firmly believe that people living with dementia should be actively involved in educating the professionals in what they require. To start the ball rolling, I have spoken to the Memory and Later Life Service team. This talk was well received, and the following comment made the effort worthwhile. We, as professionals, do get hung up on research and what we think is best practice, when, in reality, it is most certainly not. I have appeared on Border TV News and in the YTV News, talking about living well with dementia. People living with dementia are often stigmatised, and this is completely wrong. Dementia is a disease like any other disease, but a disease of the brain. It is nothing to be ashamed of. I have found the biggest change in my life since the return of my confidence is my ability to laugh at myself when things go wrong and I do something silly. Previously, I would have been bad-tempered, grumpy, and terrible to live with. Before the pandemic, we had started to look for social activities we could join in. We attended Tea and Tonic, which was held fortnightly in the library, as well as Singing for the Brain, held weekly, and a monthly dementia cafe. Not a lot really for West Cumbria, and of course, due to the pandemic, everything stopped. So this now leads me on to my vision for the future. Doctors should change the way a diagnosis is given and focus on the positivities, including advice on services available. Education, not just for the professionals, but all those who work for organisations, charities, helping with dementia, and carers. Old-fashioned ideas need to go. Carers. All carers should be able to access the workshop provided by DSDC, either on a face-to-face or using the internet. If there had been access to this workshop from DSDC and the Dementia Tour Bus at the start of my journey, then we would not have wasted 3 years of our lives. At present, there is nothing comparable to the DSDC workshop in Copeland. I know that all this costs money, which is in short supply. However, surely people who are living with dementia deserve a better quality of life. Whilst everyone cannot be guaranteed the same outcome as I had, I hope that I show that with the right help and advice, you can change your life. Before lockdown, DSDC were returning to Copeland to present their workshop, and the Dementia Tour Bus was also returning. Once lockdown is over, we're out of the way, these are going to be returning to our area sometime in the near future. And finally, I am looking forward to the easing of the restrictions brought about by the pandemic and being able to return to the social activities we were both starting to enjoy. Our first new activity is attending the Memory Cafe, organised by Copeland Age and Advice Service, which starts on Tuesday the 18th of May at 11 a.m. at Whitehaven Rugby Union Football Club. Thank you.